inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Take my eyes open to force reality. Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in their cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Sometimes I can't tell if my body belongs to me. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Content, hold your breath and feel the tension. Devils hide behind redemption. Honesty is a one-way gate to hell. I wanna taste consumption. Breathe faster to waste oxygen. Hear the children sing aloud. It's music till the wick burns out. Be carefree lately, yeah. Just kicking up daisies. Got one too many quarters in my pockets. Count 'em like the 4-leaf clovers in my locket. Untied laces, yeah. Just tripping on daydreams. Got dirty little lullabies playing on repeat. Might as well just ride around the nursery and count sheep.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air.
Hello everyone, and hello to future viewers. I'm sure that this probably will be a little controversial. Guns are always such a controversial topic. I don't know why. I feel like this is one of those topics where nobody can actually have like just a rational discourse about. They just automatically just end up emotional and fighting with each other. It's great. Of course, it's not even capturing the window yet. I love it. We had a couple of different videos to go through. There's just there's so much going on with guns right now. It's incredible. There's a lot, like for no reason. And some of the most like common things that I'm seeing are just like these wild ass things people say, like, My favorites are like ban assault weapons and common sense gun law restrictions. Like, what does any of that mean? What's an assault weapon? What is common sense gun control? Like, what do those terms mean? We can't even define those terms. Like, people sit here and think like, oh, well, assault weapons, weapons that are used in war, like the AR-15. The AR-15's literally never been used in war before. So like, we can't even define these terms to actually have a discussion. So, like, I think that's part of the issue. I also think a lot of the issue is a lot of these people have never fired firearms before in their life, and they're super scared of them, and then they're trying to regulate them out of fear because they don't even know how firearms work. So let's dive into this one first. Fucking CBS News. Goddamn, this is 9 minutes long. What the
Today is
fuck?
Gun Violence Awareness Day, and it's an issue that's impacting thousands of lives across America. The CDC has tracked a consistent rise in the number of firearm-related deaths. It's also now the leading cause of death in children and teens. In 2022, more than 44,000 people died from gun violence, including mass shootings, homicides, and suicides. If you can.
Okay, so I love that they pull up these numbers, things like this. So 44,000, yes, that's roughly accurate. I think it's 55,000 of, or 55,000, 55% of that 44,000 is suicide alone. All right. There's another, like, I think like 1,200 for strictly gang-related violence. I had the numbers here somewhere around here. Okay, yeah. So 43% is actual murder. So that includes like all murder. That gang violence, one-on-one like robberies that go bad, general just like people killing each other like over whatever. So like just one-on-one like one-off violent acts. It covers all of that shit, all of murder. Suicide is 54% of it, and then other is 3%. So that's like cops, and this was 2021. So this is by cops, this is by accidental, things like that. So I mean, sure, 44,000 seems like a lot, except when you really look at it, it's not. Like, there's reasonings behind it. Like, again, suicide makes up over half of that number. And I'm sorry, I refuse to regulate something based on people abusing it to kill themselves. All right, at that point, then we have to just be like, all right, well, like if say we ban guns and then people just that are committing suicide instead, they just go with pills. Are we just gonna ban them from getting medications now? Like, you can literally OD on antidepressants and kill yourself. So, like you see what I'm saying here? We can't blame guns for people killing themselves. It's just probably one of the fastest routes, and if you already own a gun, it's probably the easiest. You just load around and fucking off yourself. It's just there. It's easy to use if you already have it. I don't feel it's right to regulate it based on that. So if you take 55% of that number, let's just take half. Now you're down to 22,000 people, and another 3% of that is other, like accidental and police shootings. So, and then you gotta actually like boil down how much of it is like mass shootings, which is it's not a large number. I don't have that stat, but it's nowhere near this number that they're trying to like scare you with this 44,000. Also, to put that in perspective, kidney disease kills more people. Kidney and liver disease kill more people every year other than gun violence kills people. Kidney disease, all right? Something that's not like reasonably common. I guess it technically is on the 2022 one. I think it got up to like the top 10 reasons, causes for death. So I guess it is kind of common now. But a fucking disease that is typically not a death sentence kills more people a year than gun violence does. So that should kind of put that in perspective. Another little point to put it into perspective: over 600,000 people died in. Let me actually bring up the number. It was 2021. It was 695,547 people died of heart disease. let's bring this over here. See, so like liver disease, 56,000 people. 56,000 people compared to your 44,000 from gun death. Diabetes, 103,000. Alzheimer's, 119,000. Like, think of how uncommon Alzheimer's realistically is, right? We all probably know somebody who's had it or know somebody who knows someone who's had it, but it's not something that like every single person like goes through. And it's killed 119,000 people in 2021. That 120,000 people, that is 3 times the amount of gun deaths. 3 times. Chronic lower respiratory diseases, 142,000. Stroke has killed 162,000 people. Preventable injury, so that includes, from what I understand, that includes like big falls, car crashes, you know, all those general just preventable injuries. 224,935, so basically 225,000 people. COVID-19. Fucking COVID supposedly killed 416,000 people, 893. So like that is such a much larger number. It's so fucking insane that they're like, oh, gun violence is the single biggest fucking like threat right now. Like cancer, 605,000 people. Heart disease, again, almost 700,000 people. So why are we not banning cigarettes? Why are we not fucking even more strict regulation on cars? Why are we not fucking banning McDonald's and fucking Burger King and, you know, fast food and promoting healthy living? Why are we not dealing with any of these really big killers, but we're hyper focused on guns because guns are scary?
Compare that to other types of fatalities in the same year, including the 42,000 people killed in motor vehicle traffic crashes. It is still
42,000. Really? 42,000. I don't have the 2022 stats. I don't know where they found these because I could only find the 2021s. 2022. That's what I'm looking for. Cause of death. There we go. So heart disease jumped up to 700,000. Cancer, 607,000. Unintentional injury, 218,000. Again, I don't think that's accurate, right? So 218,000, and you're going to tell me that only 42,000 of that was car crashes? Because unintentional injury is where they put in car wrecks, right? So if there's 218,000, like I really doubt that it's only 42,000 people. I can't find like we'll see. See, it says 42,000. Yeah, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says 42,795 people. I really just don't believe that. Because the CDC gives us the stats of 218,000 accidental deaths, preventable accidental deaths. Like, what else? Like, I don't think that there's a bunch of people falling off fucking buildings on accident, okay? I don't think that there's a bunch of people. I don't even know how many, like, different accidental deaths you can really do. Like, I don't think there's that many people accidentally fucking drowning. You know, I don't think that that's a reasonable statistic. I think that that's bullshit. But
less than the number of people who lost their lives to gun violence. Here with more on this is Cameron McWhorter. He's the co-author of the upcoming book, American Gun, The True Story of the AR-15, and a reporter for the Wall Street Journal. Really good to have you here.
I so want to read that book. I so want to read that book. The true story of the AR-15.
I want to start with what it is about the AR-15. You know, one of the things that some of these mass shooters have said about why they chose the gun is because it's efficient, it's deadlier, it kills more people. What about...
It's deadlier. It's deadlier than what? Like, the amount of people that don't realize that your standard AR-15s shoot a 223 round. All right, a 223 5.56. That they're not a fucking large round. They're not extremely effective at killing people. All right, do they get the job done? Yeah, but it's not like there's not better rounds to kill people. Like, I don't understand how many times I have to explain the fact that these mass shooters would be far more successful, especially since 99.9% of them can't fucking shoot. They would be far more fucking successful with like a semi-auto shotgun loaded with fucking buckshot to spray into a crowd. Like, that would cause way more fucking carnage. But we want to focus on the bad AR-15 rifle, right? Like, that's what we want to focus on. Because that's scary. Shotguns, they're assumed, you know, you hear about a shotgun, you think hunting. You don't think fucking people shooting each other. But guess what? Shotguns are fucking dangerous. And motherfuckers will put motherfuckers down. All right? So, I don't understand this fucking AR-15. They're more effective. Okay, more effective with what? Clearly not accuracy, because these fucking shooters are going in to an unexpected crowd, firing off 2 fucking mags and hitting 3 people, one of which survives. You know what I mean? Like, where's your fucking effectiveness from this? It's better at killing people? Like, how? In what way? There are way larger calibers out there. I mean, I don't know, like, what else you'd really go for. Like, I would assume probably like a 45 hollow would probably be way more effective at like actually killing people than a 223 round or a 5.56. It's just gonna pack way more of a punch. I don't know. I don't know. I just feel like it's such a weird thing to say that the AR-15 is like, that's the big effective weapon out there, you know? I mean, for fuck's sakes, even the goddamn army and the military, the U.S. military, is trying to get away from the current 5.56 standard because it's not that effective. So, I mean, I don't know. It's so weird to say that.
About this weapon makes it so efficient?
That's an excellent point. It was created in the 1950s as a weapon for the Cold War, to fight in Southeast Asia and other places, and it was made to be really light, shoot really well, and shoot rapidly. And that was perfect for that kind of fighting, and in that kind of war, you could carry a lot of ammunition. It was very well designed, but that also makes it really easy for very disturbed people to use it today, and even if they have very, very little training in the gun. So, for example, the man in Uvalde, or the boy in Uvalde, the young teen who went in and shot up that school, had never fired a gun that day before that day. And so it's very easy to shoot. It's people talk about it being this powerful weapon. It's incredibly easy to shoot.
Powerful weapon. What makes it? It's shooting such a fucking low caliber round. What makes it so powerful? It's not like, talk to anybody who fucking knows guns and tell them that you think the AR-15 and 223 or 5.56 is powerful, because it's fucking not. All right, it's just it's fucking not, dude. Like, I don't understand that logic. It's not powerful. It's made more so to be able to be accurate than powerful. Like, the good like comparison would be like the old school debate of the AR-15 versus the AK platform, right? The AR versus AK platforms. AK obviously wins in terms of caliber. They're 7.62 caliber. They hit way harder. But the AR-15s are typically considered, for one, they're typically considered way more customizable. They're way more accessible because, in terms of customization, because of the fact that so many different, they're so popular that so many different manufacturers make different optics. They make different fucking grips. They make different fucking foregrips. They make, you know, like there's so many different things that are made for the AR platform. That's what makes it so customizable versus the AK, which is not as popular here. So, but yeah, they're designed more so to be like able to put decent amount of fire in an accurate area quickly. Not necessarily high firepower. Like, I don't think anybody would say that knows weapons.
And that makes that is the problem.
So for the gun owners, what's the appeal?
Again, the easy to shoot thing, go back to shotguns. AR-15s, you have to actually aim. You actually have to, you know, line up your target. Shotgun, not really. You know what I mean? Aim in the general direction. You're going to hit something, right? It's like this, they're so easy to shoot. They're just so easy. You literally don't even have to aim. They fire heat-seeking 50 BMG rounds, okay? And they're just everywhere on the street. They're just everywhere. It's so worrying. Fucking Jesus.
Yeah, it's fun to shoot. People, it's also become, as we all know, and that's the reason we wrote the book, is it's become this pivotal symbol for America's gun debate. We're all talking about the AR-15. There are a lot of guns in this country, but the AR-15, there's at least...
Okay, so you do... Oh. Do you know why that is? All right, the AR-15 is this massively popular weapon system. One, because when it first was, you know, getting into civilian hands, it just looks cool. It looks similar to the M16 and M4 platforms that we use in the U.S. militaries. So, like, people are like, oh, AR-15 is basically the same thing as a military-grade rifle. Ooh, I'm a cool guy. And they're really not. But... But that's what made them popular at first. All right, they were somewhat popular because of that fact. They looked cool. Again, they were very highly customizable. There's a lot of factors that made them popular among gun owners. But what made them as popular as they are now is you politicians making them sound like they're these massively deadly, scary weapons. And now even gun owners, like, they have to own an AR-15 because that's the symbol of gun ownership, is like you have to have an AR-15 now because, you know, they're gonna steal our AR-15s. Like, you did this to yourself and now you want to ban them. Like, you made them this massively popular symbol by trying to point them out and not knowing what you're talking about. Because one of your big arguments is like, oh, look at this weapon of war, this military grade rifle. Meanwhile, you can literally buy actual military grade rifles from old wars that were real used in combat. But you don't want to talk about those. You don't want to point out those because a lot of those are wood. Let's take like the M14, the M1 Garand, the M1 Carbine. I mean, fuck, you just go down the fucking list, can't you? It's like the SKSs. Hell, even until here recently, you didn't even hear about the AK, right? The AK was not a big talking point because it was wood. It had, you know, wood fucking furniture. So it wasn't as big of this, you know, oh, look, this spoopy, scary gun. Ugh. It's just because this looks futuristic. It looks newer. You know, it looks more professional, I guess. You know, it looks... It does. It looks more like a military-grade weapon, despite not being one. That's really what it is. And you trying to point out how spoopy it looked, and when you were trying to talk about guns, and this was done like back when, like Columbine, for example, that was done with Tech-9s. Those are handguns. Those are 9mm handguns. And like people point out things like AR-15s, and it's like, bro, that's not even remotely the same thing. But whatever.
20 million of them now, perhaps as many as 25 million. We just don't really know. And they are ubiquitous. So how are we going to, how do we wrestle with this issue of they're everywhere, but they are really attracting people who want to hurt a lot of people really quickly?
I guess Lou, I should have framed my question
Yeah.
a little bit better, because I wonder, there are other weapons that are easy to fire, easy to use, and that are handguns, and that are...
That is the most idiotic statement I've ever heard in my life. That is how you know this person doesn't actually know how weapons work, or has probably never fired one in his life. Okay? To sit here and say that handguns are easier to shoot it's so fucking dumb. Okay, handguns are considered the hardest thing to shoot. You know why? Because there's no fucking buttstock to them. You don't have this forward stance with your hand. You don't have your hand going forward, adding to your stability. All right, you have to just create stability through a awkward ass feeling stance when you first start shooting. Okay, handguns are not easy to fucking shoot. They aren't. They have never, ever been considered the easy thing to shoot. All right? That's such a dumb fucking statement. And that's what annoys me about these people, is they have no idea what the fuck they're talking about, but they want to talk about it. It's like, so then at least educate yourself. If you want to, I genuinely think that if you want to sit here and say, like, guns are scary and we should ban them, then you should be required to actually fire guns and actually learn something about them. Because, like, you are so idiotic when you talk about this.
Are just as effective if the message from gun owners is they want to protect themselves or they want to protect their families. So why a rifle that you typically see, at least the silhouette of it, one that you see militaries carry?
Yeah, but I think
I don't know how many times I have to say this. I don't know how many times everyone has to say this to you people. The AR-15 has never been an actual weapon of war. I mean, you could probably maybe find, like, I don't know, maybe somewhere in fucking Ukraine where they're using World War II weapons out there because of how bad fucking supplies are. Like, maybe you can find somebody with an AR-15, right? Maybe. I don't know. But like I said, they're literally using weapons from World War II at this point. But the AR-15 has never been, like, a weapon that has been in the hands of a military as, like, a standard issue. It's never been done. Never in its history has the AR-15 been a military's weapon of choice. So why do you people keep saying that it's a military-grade rifle, that it's used in the military, blah, blah, blah? It's not. Again, do some fucking research. You sound like fucking idiots. And by the way, you are CBS fucking News, all right? Fucking get it together.
You know, the part of the issue, though, a lot of people buy AR-15s that are not planning on being mass shooters. Part of the issue is that mass shooters tend to choose this weapon.
Again, that is your fault. I will go on a limb and say that is 120% the media's fault. Again, back to the point that I made earlier, where this was not a super fucking known and beloved platform until it started getting pointed out in the media. Like, even gun owners, even really big gun owners were not, like, and not every one of them had an AR-15, right? There were different weapons that people collected. The AR-15 is now, like, such a talked about and well known. It's like, it's basically whenever you bring up guns and gun control or any of that topic, automatically people talk about AR-15s. Like, they are fucking interchangeable at this point. So, like, that's kind of on you, because you have made it, the media has made this AR-15 platform like this super scary fucking weapon of mass destruction somehow. So that's why people are using it. That's why these mass shooters are picking that weapon. Again, there are weapons that they could be way more effective with. But guess what? They choose the AR-15 because people like you sit here and tell them how scary and how effective the weapon is. Just like you said that the shooter that we're talking about earlier in the video. That guy never, ever used a weapon before in his life. Never fired a gun, supposedly. What was the one he went for? The moment he decided, hey, I'm going to go commit fucking mass murder, the moment he fucking decided that, he's like, AR-15. And you know why? As if he's somebody who's never even touched a weapon before, you know why he would make that choice? It's pretty fucking obvious, isn't it? Because he's been told how fucking scary and effective that weapon is, despite the fact it's not true. And who tells him that? Who tells a non-gun owner? Who tells somebody who has never touched a weapon before how scary this AR-15 is? I wonder.
Because
Exactly.
it's you know, the recoil is, though it's powerful, it doesn't have a strong recoil. There's
how many times do we have to say that it's not powerful? It shoots standard a 223 or 5.56. That's not a powerful round. You're right on the recoil. It's not a heavy recoil weapon. Because it shoots a low caliber round. How do non-gun owners, how are they able to not get this through their head? Like, it's very simple. Bigger bullet equals more recoil. That is just the general idea, right? The bigger the hunk of lead you're sending down range, the more recoil you're going to get from firing that hunk of lead. It's that simple. Stop trying to say the AR-15 is powerful. It's not. It shoots usually a 223 or 5.56. Now, yes, there can be fucking air platforms all the way up to like fucking 50 Beowulf. All right, yeah, you could fucking do that. I don't know many people that own one, and I've never ever seen a fucking shooting happen with like a fucking 50 Beo. But hey, you know,
a lot of damage, a lot of bullets go flying.
Again, not a lot of damage and not a lot of bullets. They hold the standard big boy mag is a 30-round magazine of, again, 223 or 5.56. Not a lot of damage, not a lot of rounds.
You know, in a short period of time. And so it is the choice of the mass shooter. But to your question, why is it the choice of not the mass shooter? What is there more to, I guess I'm trying to sort of get what the overall narrative has been about this gun that makes it so appealing to people who say they want to protect their home.
Again, because of people like you, because you fucking say these idiotic things like you're doing right here. Oh my God. People like you are the exact reason why AR-15s are chosen for things like this. Because the AR-15, again, the 223 to 5.56, chambered AR-15s are not super powerful. They're not like the ideal weapon to fucking go around like slinging lead at people. All right. It's just not. There's far better things to do that with if you just want to be honest. All right. Again, I bring up shotguns, especially for somebody who's never shot weapons before. You ain't gonna hit shit with a fucking AR-15. As an inexperienced gun user, you're just gonna miss almost all your targets. That's why you see people go in, drop 2 full fucking mags out of an AR-15 and hit 3 people. That's 60 rounds they went through and they hit 3 people. Let's stop acting like this fucking weapon is literally shooting out fucking 50 BMG fucking heat-seeking missiles, all right? It's not even remotely true. But people like you sitting here saying that they're so easy to shoot, they do so much damage, they have literally no recoil, they can fire them in full auto. Like, people like you are the reason why people are going to the AR-15 to carry out these acts of violence.
These are great questions, Vlad and Emery. Great. The issue is complicated. It's had a lot to do with marketing, with the marketing of the gun as being this macho. There was a whole campaign years ago about get your man card, buy this gun. It has it's relatively inexpensive. It is, again, easy and fun to shoot. If you take it to a gun range and you shoot it, you can feel like you're a great, like you're really on target and you're an expert marksman, even though you really aren't.
What does that even mean? Has this dude ever even fired a gun? I don't think so. Like, what kind of fucking weird ass fucking things is he saying here? You can feel like you're an expert marksman, even though you're really not. It's the weapon doing all the work, you know? You can sit there and just fucking, it literally just, it lines the target up for you. You don't even have to do any work. You know, it just has little engines on the sides of it that fucking stabilize the weapon and shift it to just point right at it knows what you want to shoot. So it just points at it for you. And Hell, it even pulls the trigger for you. You literally don't even have, it reloads for you. You don't have to do anything. It's literally just a fucking droid at this point. It's a little android that you just fucking throw out there and it kills people. You know, it's that fucking effective. What a fucking stupid. Oh my god.
So it has a great appeal. Also, it's become a political symbol. It's a symbol. If you own an AR-15, you are saying to everyone around you, if you put that sticker of a silhouette of an AR-15 on your car, you're telling everyone around you, I support the Second Amendment. And that is the political battle. And if you go to gun control rallies, they have people will be carrying signs with a line through that weapon. And it is so it has become the center of our gun debate.
You know,
and it also sorry.
I was going to say,
on.
what's so interesting is that when I was a child in the 70s, we knew that there were some people who had guns, but we also knew that they were for hunting or for protection, right? Much in the same way as Canadians keep weapons. What happened with the evolution of the National Rifle Association?
Bro, what? When I was growing up, you know, we knew some people had guns, but like not many people had guns. All right, let's just fucking fact check this, I guess. I can't fucking spell. I'm just a little fucking stupid. All right, so gun ownership from 1972 to 2022. Percentage of households in the United States owning one or more firearms from 1972 to 2022. Let's see. 1972, we're at 43%. 1970, I'll fucking drag it over here even. That way you guys can even see that I'm not just fucking making this shit up, right? Look at this fucking graph. When I was growing up in the 70s, you know, we knew some people had guns, but not many people had guns. You know what I'm saying? Not many. It was like 1 in 10,000 people. And it was for like hunting and self-defense. You know, that's it. Literally, what the fuck are you talking about? 1980, we had the exact same amount of households having one or more guns as we do in 2022. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? The amount of guns in America has just kind of followed the same little pattern. I'd say, like, I hate when graphs do this shit when you are like on it and then now you can't, okay, there we go. Fuck. Like the average seems to be around like 44%, 43%. Because like you can see here, 43, 44, 44, 44, 43, 43. Intersects with 43 right here. 43, 42, 43. Like, that seems to be about the average is like 43, 44% of households own one or more firearms. Like, this took me fucking 2 minutes to Google search. 2 fucking minutes. I mean, how do you sit here and say that, like, oh, people are just crazy now? They just everybody has guns. You know, when I was growing up, maybe a handful of people had them. You know, no big deal. 1 in 10,000 people. But now, it's like, you can't fucking walk down the street without tripping over 10 AR-15s. I don't know. It's just crazy. Fucking retarded. God damn. Yeah, we'll get to you here soon too, Majority Report. You fucking... Oh, I hate them.
That caused this blossoming of gun culture, as you say, where you use marketing materials that suggest having an AR-15 style rifle is a man card. I mean, because the NRA, as far as I understand it, was not as powerful as it is today during even the Reagan years.
Well, I wouldn't look to
Really,
the
you think
NRA.
so?
I would look to the gun companies, and I would.
Oh my god, what, we're gonna blame the game? I can't fucking talk. not the game companies. I don't know why I wanted to say game companies. Maybe because it feels literally like the fucking games cause or video games cause fucking violence argument all over again, bro. It's literally just they just spout nonsense bullshit and expect it to just pass as like the objective fact. Fuck. All right, so no. Like you cannot sit here and blame. You cannot sit here and blame gun manufacturers for quote unquote gun culture. That's fucking idiotic. All right. Are you gonna blame like car manufacturers for car culture? Like what? Because they market it? Is that what you're about to say? Because they market it as like something that people should do, like they're fucking cool to buy and cool to own and, you know, to fucking work on and shit like that, just like cars? Like, such an idiotic point. I guarantee that's what he's about to say. I guarantee it.
Say it's a very complicated story, which we just wrote a book about.
Right.
But it involves the guns, this type of weapon, the platform that created the AR-15 going out of copyright, so that smaller companies could develop the gun pretty cheaply. It's a really cheap, easy gun to make. The markup, the profits that they could make were extraordinary, and the marketing really worked.
Yeah, the marketing really worked. So what I'm aware of is the markup on guns themselves is very little. All right, so and this is just from like people that I've known who have worked in you know, gun stores and manufacturers and stuff like that. So this is pretty anecdotal, but regardless, from what I understand, guns are usually not marked up a whole lot. You know, they're very low profit margin for the actual firearms themselves, especially like gun stores, right? Gun stores make almost no money on gun sales. That they make money on is ammo. They make money on ammo, holsters, accessories, you know, sights, foregrips, fucking different butt stocks, you know, they like all these other add-ons that you can get. That's where their markups really are. That's where their profit margins are. And I'm pretty sure that's pretty much the same for the actual gun manufacturers. Like, yes, they make a profit on it. Obviously, they're a fucking company, but they don't make like a large, that's not their big profit margin there. It's run on a pretty small profit margin. So I don't think that's accurate at all, but.
And there were political reasons that sort of pushed that, including the assault weapons ban in the 1990s. All these things propelled this gun into if you were a gun owner today, you know, in the 2000s, beginning in the 2000s, you wanted to own this gun, and it was relatively easy to do. The problem, of course, we're talking about, the reason we're talking about this is mass shootings, because you started to draw people who want to hurt a lot of people really quickly.
So, Cameron, a couple of times you sort of brought up the politics of...
And again, I have to point out the fact that most mass shootings are not very effective, okay? Like, let's just be realistic. Like, it's such an argument based on emotion, okay? That's really the main ground that these guys stand on. And they will, the moment you start talking about how ineffective school shootings are, they will almost always bring up school shootings. You know, you talk about mass shootings being ineffective. They're like, oh, but what about the kids? The kids that get killed? Like, because that's, again, it's just an appeal to emotion. So they're just going to upgrade that emotional response. Now you're not talking about adults dying. Now you're talking about fucking children. Like, that'll get some people fucking fired up, right? Meanwhile, between 1999 and 2022, maybe even present, there's been 80 school shootings, and a large percentage of that has been mostly one-on-one, you know, like students shooting one person. Like, it was directly like, I'm going to go here and kill this dude, right? Or like, I'm going to go here and kill this fucking teacher. It's not mass shootings, but it's still labeled as quote-unquote school shootings because they happened in school. They will use that stat, though. They will actually amplify that stat to try and get an emotional response. Most of them are not mass shootings. Or most of them are completely ineffective. Again, it's just like, it's just they want an emotional response because it's way easier to argue for it. You know, it's way easier to sit here and be like, oh, well, you don't want more gun control, you don't want these ridiculous rulings that we want, oh, you don't care about dead kids then. Like, the amount of times I've heard that is ridiculous, because it's their main fucking talking points, their main argument, because they know if they actually rely on statistics, if they actually rely on facts, then the argument is so much harder to make. It's so much harder.
The whole thing, and it seems like ancient history when there was an assault weapons ban, it expired.
I still, to this day, do not know what the fuck an assault weapon is. I don't know. I just want somebody to explain what an assault weapon is, because I don't fucking understand. People usually give me this bullshit fucking definition of it's a weapon that it's a firearm that can shoot a lot of rounds really quick. I'm like, okay, so technically fucking anything. Like, anything that's, like, I can fucking find people using lever actions faster than I can shoot a fucking semi. So, like, by that definition, nothing is safe. Like, okay, well, it can't have a large magazine. Okay, what's large? Then they'll be like, anything 10 or over, you know, that's not okay. You just banned, like, a vast majority of weapons in America.
And that is just so people know that. So that's why we're where we are at today. But since then, too, certainly it feels like we have become much more divided as a country politically, that a lot of these issues, these culture war issues, have taken on much greater meaning. It's not about just
restricted manufacturing, possessing, or transferring AR-15 style rifles. Only applied to civilians. So I don't... This expired in 2004. This was... I mean, you know, a little before my time. So I don't know a ton about this fucking ban. I know that, again, the definition of an assault weapon was so fucking loose that, like, realistically, if they wanted to come down on a lot of stuff, they could have. But again, they wanted to target this fucking AR-15 because the AR-15s, they spoopy.
You know, you want to own a gun to protect your home. It's about now, are you protecting the Constitution? Are you an American? It's so much heavier. Is something like, you know...
You notice how she says, like, are you an American? Like, dramatizes it, like, to kind of just brush it off. Like, no, okay, the Second Amendment is a very fundamental constitutional right given to us by the Founding Fathers. Like, that was... they understood how quickly a government can fall into tyranny unless the people have an actual power. Well, guess what? The people don't have a power unless they have a way to, you know, physically exert that power. All right? If you just take away all the weapons of people, guess what happens? They don't really have a voice. Like, yeah, they can sit there and they can fucking say all they want. They can talk all day fucking long. But the big fucking government that has all the fucking guns, tanks, helicopters, jets, everything else, you think they'll listen? If we ask them real nicely, do you think they'll listen? How long did it take Gandhi to get the UK or Great Britain out of India? I'm just curious.
An assault weapons ban. Are we so far gone now that we can't even really
Fuck off.
Bring that up as a conversation? Because often when we talk about gun legislation, it's about, you know, red flag laws and stuff like that. But out and out banning these deadly weapons doesn't seem to come up anymore.
No, because it's not even, because you've been fucking slapped so fucking hard and so fucking often on this just outright ban weapons. And I don't even want to hear this. It doesn't come up anymore. It comes up all the fucking time. You are being so disingenuous with saying that. That's not even remotely fucking accurate. All right, people are screaming from the rooftops to ban AR-15s. Shut the fuck up. But it doesn't come up as much anymore comparatively to, like, let's say, like, 2010, 2015, right, where this was a really massive talking point. It doesn't come up as much as it did back then, because again, now you have a lot of pissed off people that want you to stop trying to fuck with them. Now you have a lot of people who are pissed off enough that not only did they just purchase these weapons, not only do they own a lot of accessories and a lot of different firearms, now they're fucking learning the stats. Now they're learning the laws. Now they're educating themselves. You pissed them off so bad that they fucking learned. You know how fucking bad you gotta piss people off to educate themselves? That's fucking impressive.
Well, some politicians still talk about it quite a lot, including the president. I think the practical reality is that's impossible. Again, as you guys just mentioned, more than 20 million of these guns are in civilian hands right now. That is an extraordinary amount. Before the assault weapons ban went into effect in 1994, there were approximately 400,000 in this country. So we've seen an explosion in ownership of these guns. So how would you possibly round them up? I think you hit the nail on the head. And I heard earlier you guys were talking about the debt ceiling deal. We're not very good at compromise in this country, but we really, particularly, I think everybody agrees we want less mass shootings. And we want those mass shootings, if they unfortunately take place, to be less deadly. So what do we do? What policies do we pass to try to do that? And I think that's where the focus has to be, and regarding the AR-15, and that's what politicians need to start focusing on.
Yeah, actually, I agree. I actually agree with you. They should indeed focus. They should indeed focus on the prevention of mass shootings. What causes them? What best course of action will, when they do happen, what best course of action will stop it once it has happened, and how do we make them as least effective as possible? Well, guess what? Banning AR-15s is not the move. Again, I place a lot of blame on the media, because you guys, whenever there's a fucking mass shooting of any kind, you guys cover it for 3 fucking weeks, and you plaster these people's fucking names everywhere. Their names and their fucking pictures everywhere. You make them a fucking anti-hero to all these, or actually not even an anti-hero. You make them a hero to all these motherfuckers that want to do the same shit, right? They see these people doing these things. They see how they're, in their minds, celebrated for 3 weeks, ran through the fucking news on repeat on every fucking station, because you guys want to push a political agenda. And then you wonder why they're becoming so fucking common. But nobody wants to talk about things like mental health in America. Nobody wants to talk about shit like that. Nobody wants to talk about the root causes of it. You guys want to cut out that. You want to go straight into the middle and just oh, if we just get rid of guns, then they can't fucking shoot people, can they? Haha, we win. Okay, why don't you go past that and go, well, what's making people want to fucking shoot people? How about that? Can we dive into that a little bit? Yes, a lot of people, the same people who want to ban guns saying AR stands for assault rifle. Yeah, by the way, people, AR stands for Armalite. That was the company that originally made the patent for the AR-15. The more you know.
Good question.
Because nobody wants more of this stuff.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. Cameron McWhorter, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it.
Great talking to you.
Wow, that was a whole lot of talking about nothing. Now we get to talk about the Majority Report.
Luke
from Florida.
Luke from Florida. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. I wanted to talk to you guys about guns today, because I think that's probably the only thing that we really disagree on. I've been listening to the show for a really long time, and you guys really got me out of a pretty bleak political spiral. So I want to thank you for that before we get to do the disagreeing.
No problem. Go on.
How much do you want to bet that he was a conservative? He was Republican, and these guys he started to lean more and more left, and then now he's so fucking deep into these political teams that looking back on it, he's like, you saved me from a political spiral. I was basically a Nazi.
On.
All right. So before we get going, can you tell me what actually is your position on guns in the country? Because I've heard you kind of gesture towards it, but I don't know specifically what you would do.
So, my general position is that I believe that you should have to go through a fairly elongated licensing practice.
What would that consist of? Like, oh my God, people like, they don't want to explain themselves. So an elongated licensing process. Okay, right off the bat now. I do not believe that you should be issued a license to be able to own a firearm. All right, fuck off. No. That's just a hard no on that one. Hard pass. Next.
Step-by-step basis to ensure that you have proper training, and that can go through.
You don't need proper training to own a firearm. All right. I actually agree that everybody who wants to own a firearm should train. They should be, they should spend time at the range. They should get to know their firearms. Just in general, because that is going to help you when you actually need to use that firearm to know how to work it properly. All right. I fully believe that. Yes, I do think that they should be able to they should go and get training, but I'm not going to mandate it. I refuse to even entertain this idea that we should just be forced into training on firearms just to be able to own one. All right. No.
A variety of different agencies, likening it to the DMV. It can go through the Fish and Wildlife Gaming Agency, and that should be the process for obtaining a weapon. I also believe that weapons of war, such as AK-47s or semi-automatic rifles, should be outright banned.
Semi-automatic rifles outright should just be banned. They're weapons of war, guys. All of them. Not just the AK-47, but all of them. All semi-automatic rifles are basically just weapons of war. You do realize that bolt actions were a weapon of war. How about muzzle loaders? Muskets? Those were weapons of war at one point too. Shotguns? Weapons of war. Pistols? People fucking issued sidearms too. Fuck me. What else? How about SMGs? Little compact submachine guns. Oh, weapons of war too. Well, fuck me. It's almost like firearms are actually created to kill things. I know, big fucking shocking revelation, right? And the weapons that are effective at doing that, militaries pick them up because they want to be effective in killing things, because it's the military's fucking job. Guess what the job of a firearm is to do? It is to kill shit. Oh my God. Yeah, all semi-automatic rifles, they're weapons of war, guys. Ignore the fact that bolt actions, shotguns, pistols, basically every classification of a weapon, all of those have been used in war. But all semi-automatic weapons, all semi-automatic rifles, those are inherently weapons of war, so we should ban all of them outright. Also, I think that's one of the first times I've ever heard anybody lead with an AK-47 and not an AR-15. So, I mean, props to you, I guess.
And for commercial sale. And I'm also fairly skeptical of tweaks and reforms like red flag laws, because they really just empower police more. I think the answer is targeting the sale and manufacturing of weaponry before they get into people's hands. That's my position.
Okay, so keep in mind that these are most likely and she doesn't explain this point, but it is a common argument I've been hearing here recently, is that we should hold gun manufacturers liable. So if a gun manufacturer makes let's use AR-15. If a gun manufacturer makes an AR-15 and they sell it to a gun store, and that gun store then sells it to somebody, and that person then goes and commits fucking a mass shooting, then that should be tracked all the way back to that gun manufacturer, and they should be charged. They should pay a large fine and possibly lose their gun manufacturing license. So they will no longer be able to make guns in the United States because of a firearm they sold to a gun store that then sold to a person that then was okay by all, checks that we have, decided to go out and do something horrible with it. Most likely, I think that's what she's talking about. Again, she doesn't really specify, so I don't know. I'm just making assumptions here. That's kind of what I have to do, because, again, she doesn't tell me.
What would you do about assault rifles and military style weapons that are already like owned by people in the country?
It's a good question. I think that you would, in my ideal world, implement a buyback program that is not mandatory, but one that is incredibly lucrative for people, and making it, whatever, 5 times the government can afford it. 5 times the.
The government can afford it, guys. These are the exact same people that will sit here and complain about the debt ceiling and how bad that is. I love this though. Like, especially from like the Majority Report and shit, right? These guys will literally sit here and talk about how the government can afford this, the government can afford that, the government can afford more social programs, the government can afford gun buyback programs, the government can afford to fucking the government can afford anything, right? They're just loaded, filthy, fucking rich. So for one, do you realize that it's such a dumb program, right? So you'd be using tax money to then buy people's guns back from them at a 5 times the rate. So most likely for that to be achieved, you would then increase taxes on the same people you're buying the guns back from. It's actually retarded. It's actually just fucking brain dead. And again, these guys will sit here and talk all day long about the debt ceiling and how horribly in debt America is, right? Meanwhile, the government can afford it. The government can afford anything. It's the government. It's like they have no concept of how the government has money to begin with.
Purchase price of the weapon is, and try to do a clawback in that way. But I just don't think right now in this country it would be realistic to do mandatory
I think
clawbacks.
typically we say like you start with the manufacturing and purchasing of new firearms, and also make those things not like an investment that people can sell. It shouldn't be illegal to if we're going to make it illegal to purchase them from a manufacturer or store, it shouldn't be illegal to resell them. And so I think there should be intense scrutiny on that. As to climb them back from people who bought them, I just think that is not feasible.
So yeah, Majority Report wants to ban the sale and manufacturing of the AR-15, of fucking all semi-automatic rifles apparently. So you wouldn't even be able to sell it privately. But keep in mind, these are the same people who think that gun show loophole exists. All right, so just keep that in mind. They actually have no idea how like purchasing a firearm works. I would venture to guess none of these people have ever bought a firearm, so they don't know about background checks. They don't know that the vast majority of states have required background checks whether you buy them privately or not. But hey, whatever.
And I don't know that it's necessarily desirable.
Well, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm super disappointed. I thought you guys were gonna come out with some, plan to take all of our guns away. So
they literally did. Like people are so fucking idiotic. They literally just said that. They just said that they had a plan to take all the guns away. But it's not an immediate just, they send the fucking military in and be like, all right, everybody like just roam down the streets and fucking collect all the firearms. Like they just have it outlined in stages, basically. They did outright say they want all semi-automatic rifles completely banned, and they want very strict licensing and training before you can even get a license to then purchase a firearm or own one.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bummed.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all.
My principal position is that I think people like I genuinely actually do buy a general community defense argument for the Second Amendment, but I don't extend that to obviously like RPGs.
Yeah.
Or
my brother in Christ. What? I don't extend that to RPGs. Yeah, let's use RPGs as the example. Like what?
Or even like I think anything with like a bump stock or anything that like those modifications. First of all, we already do ban those modifications,
and that was a really stupid fucking modification to ban. Do you realize that bump stocks? I don't think I can find stats on bump stocks used in violence. Like Vox publishes shit like this. The bump stocks loophole that could arm mass shooters. Do you motherfuckers realize that these guys can't handle semi-automatic fucking rifles? They can't handle shooting a 223 rifle semi-automatic. You think that motherfuckers can shoot it fucking with a bump stock? No. At that point, fuck, they couldn't handle full auto. It's just no. Because these people have never shot a gun before. It's what it is. They just don't understand what a gun is. Like, I guarantee that these guys have never actually fired an AR-15 if they think things like bump stocks make you more effective. Almost guarantee it. Oh, hold up. Maybe. After the 2017 Las Vegas shooting, the portion of legislation banning bump stocks took effect in October. Possession in Florida is a third-degree felony. Vermont passed similar law. Delaware, Hawaii, Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Nevada have also banned bump stocks. Some states do not ban bump stocks. Was it used in... I don't remember hearing anything about bump stocks in the Las Vegas shooting. Las Vegas mass shooter had 13 rifles outfitted with bump stocks. That's not a bump stock? What? Did he use any of those? He used them to fire. So he had 13 rifles outfitted with bump stocks. He used them to fire 1,049 rounds. Okay. My brother in Christ. My brother in Christ. This guy, M4 carbine. This guy had an. Wait, is it a? So it's a Colt M4. Is it a Colt M4 or is it an AR-15? Because guess what? Those are two different things. Okay, just so you know. Oh, Jesus Christ. So it is AR-15 223/556 with a bump stock, vertical foregrip, and a 100-round mag. Front sight only, by the way. This dude was popping off shots with a front sight only. Didn't even know what he was shooting at. Had no idea. Homie's just fucking hoping it works, you know? AR-15, again, they don't tell me what caliber it is. 223/556. Is it 223 or is it 556? Because those are different calibers. I mean, you can't shoot a 556 through a 223. You can shoot a 223 through a 556. You know why? Because they're different. Same bullet, basically, though. So, I guess. With a bump stock, vertical foregrip, and 40-round magazine. Ooh, he had an EOTech optic. Ooh, fancy motherfucker. That's not what I typed. It doesn't look like a bump stock to me, by the way. Like, those aren't bump stocks, right? Am I fucking retarded? I might be. But those don't look like bump stocks to me. Maybe they are. They just look really weird. Cause like I can see the gap here. Maybe they just like sleeve over it here, I guess. But like it's so hard to tell. They're just telling me they're bump stocks and not showing me that they're bump stocks. So he fired. Oh, the police recovered 18 rifles and a handgun. 13 rifles were outfitted with bump stocks. Okay, how many people did he even like injure or kill in this? I don't remember. I remember it not being like for the amount of rounds spent. I remember it not being very much, but I guess those are bump stocks. I don't know. So that's about the only example we have of bump stocks being used. It's the only thing I've seen, and I was unaware of that actually. So bump stocks were used in one shooting, and now we should ban them? I don't understand. Because bump stocks are not something you want to use while like shooting like accurately, right? It's a for fun thing, because bump stocks are not, they make you very inaccurate. It's very hard to control them, because what it is using the recoil of the weapon. It's using the force going backwards to, just like, it just keeps on like a spring effect, you just hold down. You hold your finger where it is, and it'll automatically press the trigger for you every time, because it moves the trigger away from you so that it can reset, and then pushes it forward. So then your finger will just automatically press it again. So it's just a faster semi-automatic. But technically, it is still semi-automatic because the trigger does decompress. Therefore, it is semi-automatic. Just a weird version of semi-auto. Oh, no, he actually did. He killed 60 people, wounding at least 413. I didn't realize he killed that many people. That's crazy. But again, there's a lot more factors to that than just, and again, it's one off. But there's a lot more factors to that than just bump stocks and AR-15's bad, right? There's a lot to do with that.
When it's a switch and like black people have it in a community, it puts them away for like 70 years.
Oh my God, we are not. What? Hold up.
With like a bump stock or anything that like those modifications. First of all, we already do ban those modifications. When it's a switch and like black people have it in a community, it puts them away for like 70 years. But we just don't do anything for like bump stocks. That's mainly a white thing. Is my impression. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but
no, because the switch makes it an actual fully automatic. As far as I'm aware, like the switch. So you're talking about the Glock switch, right? I assume that little fucking modification you can do to the Glock to make it full auto. Yeah. So that makes it so that the let's just give me a second. All right. I guess it's fucking time to educate stupid people.
Integrated into the frame, forcing the barrel down and unlocking it from the slide. This camming action terminates the barrel's movement while the slide continues back under recoil, extracting and ejecting the spent cartridge casing. The slide's uninterrupted rearward movement and counter-recoil cycle are characteristic of the Browning system. Glock pistols incorporate a number of features intended to enhance reliability in adverse conditions, such as utilizing advanced metal coatings, stub, slide guides instead of true frame rails, and an unusual cocking mechanism wherein the trigger is partial. Slide guides in adverse conditions, such as utilizing advanced metal coating, intended to enhance characteristic of the Browning system. Glock pistols incorporate a number of features intended to enhance reliability in adverse conditions, such as utilizing advanced metal.
So you see, if I'm right about this. You see this right here? So this piece and this piece. See how this catches it, right? We'll slow it. No, that's not what I wanted. 0.25. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
Each is intended.
See how it catches that, brings it up, right? That's what keeps. That's basically what keeps it from basically just continuing to shoot when you have the trigger pulled down.
To enhance.
Then, see how when you press the trigger back down,
incorporate a number of features intended.
So, all right, so pay attention to like how the trigger, like when it's pulled, what's happening here. This bar gets pulled back, releasing this. This then sends the firing pin forward. All right, so my bad. It releases this right here. Remember how this was hooked into this? It releases this, allowing the firing pin to go forward and strike the fucking bullet to make it go boom. Now watch it. All right, this part gets caught right here, which resets the trigger. Pulls back. See how it lets that go? All right, it's locked back in, pushes it forward, resets the trigger. Pulling that trigger pushes this backward, lets that fucking fly up forward. Wow, that's how a Glock works. So what this little fucking switch does, I'm not really sure how. I need to look into it. I don't know exactly how the switches work, but it makes it so that it somehow makes it so that this does not catch on this. So you pulling the trigger makes the gun go bi-ya-ta-ta. Makes it go brr. So that's vastly different from this to the AR-15's bump stock, which I'm sure I can find one on that too. I mean, fuck. I love these little videos, these fucking weapons explained videos. They're so good. Like, whoever takes the time to 3D model this shit, you're an absolute fucking god. Doesn't look like I can find a 3D modeled one of this. Oh, wait. Is this 3D modeled? It doesn't have the bump stock on it, but I can at least show like the internals of the AR-15. Yeah, this should work. Hold up. Okay. This one should.
Bolt carrier group to the rear. As it comes back, the action spring is compressed.
Okay.
As the carrier returns forward,
and
the bolt strips the top cartridge from the magazine and guides it into the chamber. Housed within the bolt carrier is the bolt. The bolt contains several locking lugs that engage with the barrel extension lugs. As it makes contact with the barrel breech face, the bolt turns and locks into place. The locking function is due to the cam pin housed within the bolt. The pin rides along a track in the bolt carrier, allowing it to rotate. The pin has clear currents where the bolt fails to fully close. The palm fist may be engaged until drives the hammer forward to strike the firing pin, causing it to travel forward and impact the cartridge primer. Within the primer strikes the groove, and into
Alright,
the
so
bolt
gas feeds
carrier
back.
key, forcing it to the rear.
It then resets this, right? So the difference between you bastard, you're not gonna show the next part, are you? So
Forcing it to the rear.
as you see right here, so the gas is then the gas is used to push the bolt backwards, right? So it resets the bolt, sends it backwards, it resets the trigger here, resets the trigger right here, right? So it shoots the bolt backwards, trigger reset, and then it will automatically, it'll just, come back up, grab another round, shove it into the barrel. All right. The difference is with the Glock, this would be free, right? This would just be free. So the moment that bolt would go back forward, it would just come back up and slap it. It would just continuously cause it to fire, right? That's what the Glock modification does. The bump stock, however, we're gonna see if there is a good.
The extractor by the disconnector. When the buffer reaches the back of the receiver
Here we go. So this part.
extension, the action spring returns the bolt carrier forward.
Yep, see,
As
so
it
the spring,
returns,
yep.
the bolt strips a new cartridge from the magazine and directs it into the chamber.
So the bump stock, what that does is when that spring pushes it forward, right? So when the spring is getting compressed, it's moving the actual, like the trigger itself away from you. So then the trigger can be reset. You will just hold your finger there where it would be in a firing position, right? Where your finger was when you fired it, when the round went off. You hold it there so that when that trigger goes back, it resets. Then as the spring decompresses and sends the bolt forward, the trigger goes forward with it. That hits your finger and then it decompresses or re-engages the trigger again, allowing it to fire. All right. See how that is a different mechanism than the fucking Glock? I explained that horribly, but like that's the general gist of it. The trigger does not get disengaged. Okay, that's the big difference. The trigger on this, when you make that Glock modification, the trigger doesn't get disengaged. Therefore, it is by definition, fully automatic weapon. Now, the bump stock, the trigger does get disengaged to fire another round. Therefore, it is still semi-automatic. Just instead of the weapon itself doing the work for you, there's a modification doing the work of disengaging and re-engaging the trigger. That's all that is.
Like I think those sorts of things are like actually justifiable, but
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I think like this also is maybe a part of my political evolution. I find the very like moneyed and somewhat paternalistic thrust behind some of the anti-gun. What'd you say?
Michael Bloombergism.
Exactly. I'm putting it more succinctly than I can. I find that to be like a problematic element in the like actual attempt to limit gun violence.
Technocratic project, really, is what it is.
And honestly, yeah, the Michael Bloomberg element of just like, I want to manage your life. And it's like, in terms of what I like reducing violence, I want that too. But I actually think that in terms of the political will to actually get something done, that managerial element is hurting the movement.
See, so what they're saying here is that they're not saying that they don't want to ban guns. They're saying that they can't outright just ban all the guns right now. And they can't get people to move forward with any of this type of legislation because it's too extreme at the moment. You know what I mean? So if they take it bit by bit, well, then maybe they can get something done, right? That's basically what they're trying to say here.
To curb gun violence.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And I also think that there's like a not insignificant portion of the population who's been primed to believe that like any move towards restriction of gun ownership is like it's the Democrats getting ready to do like Soviet-style communism in the United States. And I think that if you were going to pursue a path of like a broader ban or
Because it is. Like, I don't understand. They literally said they want to ban and heavily restrict and make licensing programs for weapons. Like, that's just what they want to do, like, in the near future. They want to ban all semi-automatic rifles and completely reconstruct how firearms are purchased in terms of, like, you need a license, you need this, you need that, you need fucking extensive training, blah, blah, blah. Like... It's not that we think that they're just automatically going to run out. Like, if we, you know, oh, yeah, fine, we'll ban, like, bump stocks or something, then it's not like we think, oh, if they ban bump stocks, that's just a guys. They're just going to come in and say, well, everything's a bump stock and just take, like, literally everything under force. That's not what we think. What we think is that the fucking people like these people, it's, you know, give an inch, they take a mile, right? They're just going to keep wanting that little incremental inches, you know, these oh, well, we banned this. Okay, now how about we ban this? And, you know, we argue about that for a little bit, and eventually we concede to that, and it just keeps getting worse and worse, right? Like, they will never be happy until weapons are completely illegal to own. That's just how it's gonna go.
or like a mandatory buyback program in the United States, that there would be people who would literally go to war with their local PD. Like, there would be violence in the street.
Yeah,
I agree. And we're so far away from gun buyback program in this country that, you know, I think you can't make it mandatory in this country right now. It's just not going to work.
No.
So
yeah, no. I mean, even if you passed something, it would fail in the Supreme Court. I mean, Amendment is.
I mean, even the smaller reforms I'm talking about would likely fail in the Supreme Court.
Even if you could get like the entire U.S. government on board with that, actually confiscating guns, even if you're giving people money for them in this country, like you're gonna have, it's going to lead to.
I love pay attention to how like condescending he sounds when he says shit like this. It's so fucking irritating.
U.S. government on board with that, actually confiscating guns, even if you're giving people money for them in this country.
He's like, even if you give them money, like, like imagine we can't confiscate the guns, even if we give them money, because like they're just so fucking extremists. Like, fuck, man, they just really love their guns. They just fucking jam their cocks into their fucking barrels every night. Like, Jesus Christ.
Like you're gonna have. It's going to lead to confrontations with people the government doesn't really want to have armed confrontations with.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, well, appreciate the call.
Hey, I appreciate you taking it. And if you guys ever find yourself in Jacksonville and you want to go shoot my AK, just give me a call, okay?
All right. What is it? Duval?
Bradley, take this number down, please.
Is that what I'm supposed to say?
Duval!
All right. See you later.
I love you guys.
Bye.
I'm gonna come over
Cringe
under
as
the
fuck.
guise of wanting to shoot your AK, and then the second you hand it to me, I'm gonna run away with it.
I'm gonna melt it in a foundry.
Left is Def writes in, honestly, a lucrative buyback program would make me want to buy a gun just so I could have the investment on the back end, but now I'm acting like the anti-student loan forgiveness people who are mad because they paid their student loans off without government intervention. Not quite, Left is Def, because we would prevent you from making that investment by banning the sale and manufacturing, then doing the gun back buyback program. How does that sound? But that was pretty funny. Al Dente says, now you make me want pasta, but anyway, all firearms owners should be required to have an umbrella insurance coverage commensurate with the destructive capabilities of each particular weapon. That's not a bad idea.
That's retarded. That's not a bad idea. Like, no, that's an awful idea. You want me to buy insurance for the firearms that I have? Why? like, what do you mean? What do you mean you want me to buy insurance? Like, imagine having to have insurance to have a home defense weapon. Like, especially if you strictly have a, you know, a fucking handgun in your fucking nightstand or in your fucking closet or some shit specifically for home defense. Imagine having to get fucking insurance and pay on that all the time. And you know it's not going to be low, you know, because, like, these are the same people who think ARs shoot basically, like, fucking 50 BMG, right? So, like, based on the destructive capabilities of the weapon, these motherfuckers think that you could take out a tank with a goddamn AR-15. So, imagine how much that shit's going to fucking cost you. fuck? All right, let's see here. We got one more to go through. We can get rid of this. Where in the fuck? Did I send that? There it is.
In the work.
Shut up.
In the work, which helps, right? And I really believe, like, in every.
Shut up.
This message is for everyone, but especially white women.
We're being called to show up.
I love that the video starts like that. Especially white women. These are the same people that actually genuinely believe that like white privilege is a fucking thing. That like the government's only going to listen to white people.
In Denver on June 5th with an executive order demanding that Governor Polis ban guns and buy them back.
You heard that right. Ban guns and buy them back. We're starting with Denver because Colorado has high levels of school shootings and the governor is a Democrat.
Denver has high levels of school shootings. There's only been 80 in the past 24 years, but they have high levels of school shootings.
And they say no one is trying to take our guns.
These moms are taking on guns with a plan to ban them altogether in the state. On June 5th, an estimated group of 25,000 plan to demand Governor Polis sign their drafted executive order.
You're going to ask Governor Polis to do what? You think that's really going to happen? Guns are going to be banned in the state of Colorado? What are you smoking?
Yeah, we get that a lot.
As you fucking should, you absolute fucking psycho lunatic. What the fuck? You think you just outright just ban guns? Like, just one day you just walk up to the fucking governor and you're like, hey, look, we have like maybe 1,000 people here. Like, you need to ban guns in the entire state. We have less than fucking 1% of the population of the state. You need to ban guns right now. Like, I try and like stay away from the whole like the Karen fucking thing because I think it's really overplayed. But imagine being these people, like being this self-entitled that you think that you could show up with your fucking band of like 1,000 people, 1,000 other white women, and you just automatically, the governor's like, oh yeah, God, 1,000 white women outside? Yes, let me just sign this bill right fucking now. Yeah, it's not how that fucking works.
And I hear that. Like, it sounds out there. It sounds out there to me still. But I'm deep in the work, which helps, right? And I really believe, like, in every fiber.
Deep in the work, meaning she really drinks the Kool-Aid, guys.
Of my being, that this is something that we can do.
Today, I live in a home with guns. So I am a walking contradiction, if you will, and I'm happy to be honest about that.
Denver's Alice Bloom says Here for the Kids planned sit-in and the gargantuan ask of the governor has altered her viewpoint.
I'm willing to change my life. My husband is too, and say whether or not Polis signs this, we can get rid of our guns.
The gun control lobby has been gaslighting gun owners for decades, claiming they don't want to take anyone's guns, while also saying this.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47.
And this.
I do believe that we need to do buybacks. They are weapons of war with no place on the streets of a civil society.
God fucking damn it. You know this dumb fucking bitch is talking about fucking AR-15s. You just fucking know it. Fuck. God damn it. It's... No. No, they are not fucking weapons of war. AR-15s have never been used in a fucking conflict as a standard fucking weapon. Period.
Society.
And this.
Biden administration means they're going to come for my guns.
Bingo. You're right if you have an assault weapon. The fact of the matter is they should be illegal, period.
And this.
If I could have gotten 51 votes in the...
But meanwhile, we don't want to, we don't want to define what an assault weapon is.
Senate of the United States for
What's this video from
right ban.
1995?
Every one of them. Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in. I would have done it. I could not do that. The votes weren't here.
I don't for one second believe that this is just a simple group of overzealous helicopter moms hopped up on box wine. My gut feeling says this is nothing more than AstroTurf masquerading as grassroots. I believe the gun control lobby is quietly propping up this group. That's why you have these delusional celebrities backing it. The gun control lobby for years has tried to say that they just want reasonable gun laws. However, if this was true, they'd be the first people to come out and say that they don't agree with this movement because this movement explicitly contradicts what they've been trying to tell us. However, they're not gonna.
That's a really big far reach. Yeah, and I'm gonna disagree with both sides. I'm that fucking good. That's a really big reach to just jump to that conclusion that, you know, gun control lobbyists are actually backing these people. Could it be possible? Sure. But again, without like some substantial evidence of that, that's a big fucking jump.
Say anything. Because what this gun group does is help the gun control lobby burn the Second Amendment rope from both ends. You quietly trot out this group of Terminator Karens and make them sound so extreme that it makes the other gun control groups seem reasonable, even though they want the exact same conclusion. These women are psychotic, and I don't say this to be mean. They're literally walking, talking definitions of psychosis. Psychosis. A mental disorder characterized by disconnection from reality. You can't be more disconnected from reality than to think that you're just going to ban 400 million guns overnight. You can't be further disconnected from reality than to think that it makes sense for you to be the only person to not have a firearm. You can't be more disconnected from reality.
To be fair, they don't actually think that they're going to ban 400 million guns overnight. However many guns are in fucking that area. Which I don't know, but not the 400 million guns across the U.S. That's not what they're after this particular day.
Then to say and say in front of the camera, I have guns. Yes, I'm a contradiction, but I'm going to now give up my guns so that I'm no longer a contradiction and leave myself defenseless in a world where we have 400 million guns and I only am trying to ban guns in Colorado. This is not psychosis, actually. It's stupid. And besides, anyone who still has a Black Lives Matter sign in their yard after it's been proven 10 times over that Black Lives Matter was not only founded by groups of Marxists, but also was a complete scam that made their founders beyond rich.
I mean, I don't know about the Marxist thing. I don't know enough about the founders of BLM, but yeah, BLM was a fucking scam. BLM was like the biggest fucking scam I've ever seen. I mean, honestly, bravo to those guys. Because they used everyone's outrage and made fucking bank off of it. Absolute fucking bank. And everyone was none the wiser. Meanwhile, like when people actually started talking about how they are just, you know, using people's outrage to scam them, everybody, because it was BLM, they're like, oh, you just hate black people. You're just a racist. Like, so you were then defending your own scammers. Honestly, the fucking creators of BLM are like, they were playing some fucking 4D chess on everybody, and you win.
Is completely psychotic. Never trust anyone who is willing to completely depend on the government for their safety, because they will be willing to make you as powerless as possible in order to make themselves feel safe. And don't think for a second something like this can't happen. Keep in mind, this is the same Colorado governor who did this.
Today, Colorado Governor Jared Polis signed 4 new gun bills into law aimed at curbing gun violence across the state. The 4 bills designed to strengthen the state's red flag law, raise the minimum age to buy a firearm up to 21, enact a 3-day waiting period for all gun purchases, and to remove immunity protections for gun makers.
So,
that's the last one's what gets me. The other ones are pretty standard. Like 21 to buy a firearm. Usually it's 18 for a rifle or shotgun or anything, you know, non-handgun. 21 for a handgun. That's the typical norm. 3-day waiting period. I mean, a lot of states have enacted a waiting period. Personally, I don't agree with it, but whatever. The last one is what gets me. The immunity for gun makers. Like, I can't believe these fucking absolute fucking animals are trying to go after the people who make the weapons. Like, all right, well, let's start going after fucking let's start going after Chevy for every time a car accident happens with a Chevy or a Ford or fucking Kia or whatever else. I don't know what the fuck is popular on the roads these days. But like, let's start just going after fucking those companies. Why do they have immunity? Why aren't they charged when people act stupid in their vehicles? Why don't we start just fuck it? Let's just remove immunity from all. I love how they act like it's immunity. It's not immunity. It's just common practice that you don't fucking go back to like the people who created something to be like, hey, this person that is like 4 steps down the fucking chain from you, they bought this thing and they used it improperly and it hurt somebody, so you are in trouble. It's your fault. That doesn't fucking happen.
It's not like he won't be open to the idea. That's why they're pushing it, because they know they could possibly make this happen with this particular governor. If this was a governor who was staunchly in defense of the Second Amendment, you think they would be trying this? These people aren't stupid. If anything, psychotic, yes. Stupid, that's arguable from the standpoint of them.
And this is definitely like over the top. You think that they can just they'll be able to just walk up and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna ban all weapons like today? It's just because this fucking governor enacted a couple of regulations that are, for the most part, pretty commonplace. You think that oh yeah, it's not like it can't happen. Like maybe he does just fucking, maybe they do just fucking sign it all away and they just ban all the guns. Like, it's not realistic. Okay, that would be such a fucking wild thing to happen.
Willing to give up their guns to depend on the government for their safety. But when it comes to communication, when it comes to strategy, when it comes to getting their way in politics, these people aren't stupid. They understand people. They understand the irrational aspects of people. They understand the illogical components of the brain and how to tap into it, manipulate it, and get what they want.
Do they? Because as far as I'm aware, they didn't get what they wanted. There's still a lot of people out here like me arguing against them, you know, making points against what they try and fucking say, trying to make their fucking appeals to emotion bullshit. Again, because like they're literally standing on the dead kids hill, right? That's the hill that they want to fucking defend with their lives. Is, oh, if you don't support banning guns, you just don't care about dead children. Of course, so they're using it's mothers. So we're, again, children. So we're using mothers now to try and be like, oh, look, the women and children they're scared of the fucking guns. Like, whatever, bro.
And that's what they're doing because they see an end. And they see an end with this governor. So to think that this can't happen, you're fooling yourself. And sure, it may go through the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court may overrule it. But at the end of the day, you still have to go through the process. And like I said before, the overall goal is to ask for something so extreme that you say no, so that when they come back with something else, you say, well, it wasn't as bad as the other thing you said. And then you keep doing that over and over and over and over again to the point where banning guns no longer seems extreme. I can respect the
I do think that is kind of the strategy currently is, and we're talking like the top level, like fucking ultra fucking left liberals. That I think that is the current strategy for the implementation of gun control, is to, you know, get an inch every couple of fights, right? Right now it's like the what is it, the fucking pistol brace and shit like that, bump stocks, you know, things like that they want to try and ban, which is really weird. Especially the pistol brace thing. I don't understand what the fucking point of banning pistol braces are. I think that's the weirdest fucking thing that I've seen so far. It doesn't make any fucking sense. But whatever. Like this whole new definitions of like a short barreled rifle versus a pistol versus a fucking actual rifle, like it's so fucking stupid. It's dumb. I do think that's the current strategy though, is that they want to ban these smaller things, you know, kind of weasel their way into it, right? Get these handfuls of little fucking these inches of ground and eventually make their way into banning the majority of firearms. Yes.
The fact that these mothers are at least being honest about their position on gun control and saying outright that they want to ban all guns. Unlike the rest of the lying gun control lobby who hide behind the phrase common sense gun measures when they really want the exact same thing, except the way they go about it is a lot.
Yeah, yes, again, we agree. We agree that that's why I always ask for what is the definition of assault weapons? What is the definition of common sense gun control? What are the terms and definitions of these terms that we are trying to fucking use? All right, that is important when you're talking like policies, because if you don't have definitions, you can just make shit up as you go. So, you know, that kind of fucking changes a lot, right? Like if your definition of common sense gun control is ban all weapons versus another person's common sense gun control, ban all quote unquote assault weapons. Okay, well then now we have to define assault weapons. What's an assault weapon? Anything over 10 rounds or anything over 5 rounds, anything over with a magazine over 5 bullets. That's an assault weapon. Well, you just banned probably out of the supposedly 400 million guns in America, you probably just banned fucking 350 million of them. Probably more. Yeah, probably more. I don't think there's that many fucking bolt action rifles around anymore. I don't think there's 50 million fucking muzzle loaders that are used for like hunting and shit. So, and then, okay, what's your definition of fucking common sense gun control? You go up to another person and it's like just fucking background checks. Like, you see how vastly different these things are.
A lot different. Instead, they want to chip away at the Second Amendment ever so slowly so that we don't notice that we're losing rights every other year. But what's even scarier is that there are actually a lot of people who think like these women. There are a lot of people out there who won't say anything but agree with these women and want to ban guns. And they will.
Yeah, and they're fucking stupid. And we will continue to call them out and call them fucking stupid. And yes, they are trying to do this whole get an inch every couple of arguments, fucking get an inch every year or so fucking strategy. But to say that we just don't realize we're losing rights, nah. They are hard fighting for every inch they take right now, which I hope that continues. I hope that we continuously, I do not believe in giving up any right in general without fighting like crazy for it. Okay? I just think that's the best way to decide things. I think that is the best course of action. Because I genuinely believe that people are inherently corrupt. People are inherently corrupt, especially when in positions of power. I think that's just part of the human dynamic. So I think all rights, regardless, should be always fought over. Every right should be hard fought, because usually when you hard fight every single fucking decision, you usually will then have to come to common ground, right? It doesn't just automatically, like, let's say you want to ban all fucking firearms. Well, if we just fight that constantly, there's a hard stance that we will not ban all firearms. We will fucking fight you for every inch that you fucking take, right? Then maybe eventually we can come to some type of decent common ground where the vast majority of people will be like, yeah, all right, well, we kind of got what we wanted. And, like, you know, there's a lot less gun violence now. We've kind of mostly fixed that problem to an acceptable degree. So, all right, cool. And then now it's the majority of people have no issue with weapons. And there's that small fringe fucking group that are like, we need to ban all the weapons still, but they'll have so little voices and so little power that it won't matter.
They will secretly vote for this stupidity. They will secretly support this stupidity, and they will continue to do it until they are further educated. So
I agree with the further education part. However, I disagree that there are a ton of people out there just secretly not supporting weapons. I think that's a pretty common fucking stance to have. Look, not even that people don't support the Second Amendment. I don't think that's a common stance. I think your stance on the Second Amendment is out there publicly pretty commonly. Like, that's not something people are hiding in the back, or like, you know, it's not like people who are just still fucking coming out as gay or something, right? They're not coming out of the closet about their distaste for firearms. Okay, that's not happening. Sorry, but that's just not a thing.
So this is why I think it's so important. So important. I know it's annoying. I know it can get on your nerves. but we have to start having these conversations on the ground level. The same way they claim that this group is grassroots, we need to have on the grassroots the ability to just start talking to people and informing people. Not argue with people, educate people. Not scream at people, educate people. Sometimes you can't educate people because some people are just too far gone. However, when you see the opportunity to educate people, educate them. Don't make them feel dumb. Don't make them feel stupid. Educate them. These women, on the other hand, they're too far gone. As far as I'm concerned, they're psychotically stupid. But at the end of the day, the way that we are going to continue to protect the Second Amendment going forward is to educate the masses. Because I promise you, and as I said before, right now, the other side understands communication. They understand how to...
Again, the big issue with education is that it's not so much education. We need to be able to stop the fear mongering, which, yes, education would cause that to stop, because if you actually had the majority of these people who are like, oh, AR-15s are just the weapons of war, they're so fucking scary and they're evil, and if you actually just handed them an AR-15 at the range and like, hey, shoot that target, and they just sit there and just fucking ba 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 and miss every fucking shot, and they're like, what the fuck, you know, they're gonna realize that this is like any other fucking small caliber rifle that they've ever owned, that they've ever seen, that they've ever heard of people fucking shooting. They're gonna realize that it's nothing different. It's just a fucking gun, right? And they're gonna realize that it has nothing to do with the firearms. It has to do with who is using them, who is controlling the firearm. And like, that's the best way. That I genuinely wish that we could just have like, that'd be so awesome. Just to have like ranges across the fucking country where people can just show up and like shoot an AR-15 for free, just to show like all these fucking people that have never even seen an AR-15 in real life. They've only seen the fucking spoopy pictures of the fucking AR-15s in the news and been told how like they shoot such a high caliber round with no recoil. They literally can just blow up fucking goddamn Abrams tanks with one shot and then destroy a building behind it, you know, like it. Like, I think that'd be so fucking cool if we could just have all these just a ton of ranges across the fucking US, just have AR-15s ready to go. Like, let people fucking just come in and test fire them, just fuck around with them for a little bit. Just like people that sit there and show them how to use it, how the gun operates. You would have so many people that would be immediately like, this is nothing like I was told. This is nothing like what I thought it was. God, somebody organize that fucking movement. Somebody organize that. Just get every gun range across America that wants to participate. Have them fucking have, I guarantee fucking gun store owners, gun range owners would fucking bring in their own goddamn cheaper end AR-15s just to let people fucking shoot that shit, just to be able to show people across America that these are not the fucking scary things you think they are. Let's start that movement.
Tap in to that little lizard brain and all of the rest of the people in the middle who are trying to make a decision about this issue and get them to believe the stupid, lying nonsense that they come out with. So we, as a group, have to go out there and counter that information and counter that narrative. Now, you can't always do it. Some people have to work. Some people have jobs. Not everybody can sit up here and put up a camera and talk to a camera for hours on end, for years on end, and be able to do that without having to take care of kids and other responsibilities. So,
hey man, why are you coming at me like that, bro? No. I feel like I just got told I have no life. Fuck you.
That being said, sometimes it's as simple as passing a video along, whether it's one of my videos or one of the other people's videos in the gun community. So we've got to get the information out there. So when you watch videos like this, share the video with somebody who you think may need to see the information. Share it with somebody who you think may not completely understand what we've been dealing with in the gun space. Share it with somebody who would naturally believe this, but then doesn't get the other side of it by way of a video like this. Guns aren't political. That's why I need your help getting this message to spread on YouTube by clicking the thumbs up button, leaving a comment to let me know what you think of the video, then subscribing to the channel.
Homie's got a fucking collection back there. God damn.
But most importantly, click that bell symbol. For products featured in this video, click the links in the description.
This message is for...
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't a bad video. I do think he's, you know, a bit hyperbolic on some of the shit, you know, over the top with it. You know, the whole like, oh, they're for sure being fucking influenced. Like they have like the anti-gun lobbyists in the background, you know, fueling this fucking movement. I doubt that. I think it's a bunch of fucking random ass women that probably have nothing better to do with their lives, they spend all day fucking watching CNN and NBC and all this other shit. Fucking stupid ass shows like goddamn Majority Report, and hear about how evil and terrible AR-15s are, and how, you know, their children are most likely going to be killed by a gun someday. Like, so many of these places, so many of these fucking news agencies, they fucking make it sound like there's literally a school shooting like every 10 minutes, and like your child has such a high chance, they have a higher chance of dying to a gun than anything else in the entire world. Like, I don't think that's even remotely accurate. And I know they're trying to push this new narrative, this new stat that more kids have died from guns this year than car accidents or anything else, right? That's killed more kids than anything else. I can't really find these stats. I can't really find where they're trying to like come up with this, but I'd love to take a look at them, because I would guarantee they're just really poorly analyzed stats. It's such a ridiculous thing. But again, this is kind of where we are in the country currently. We just have a large group of people that don't know anything about guns. They don't know anything about firearms, and they're being told by these big fucking news companies that the AR-15 is evil, it's scary, it's gonna kill your kid. And then we wonder why like these people are just getting up and like, oh wow, it's gonna kill my kid. Oh my god, I gotta do something. Like, it's all an emotional response. It's all arguments from a place of emotion. The stats don't back up half of what they don't. It doesn't back up fucking 80% of what they say. All right, it just doesn't. So it is what it is. But I think that's gonna do it for me tonight. This is of course gonna be a faster little quick stream throughout the day. Middle of the fucking goddamn work week. I think I'm probably gonna do another live stream tomorrow, or upload another video. I don't know what exactly I want to do. There was some more like YouTube drama type shit that I kind of wanted to get into, because I've kind of been down this rabbit hole now with the whole, like, when I started with H3H3 and Ethan calling out, you know, Abba and Preach and shit, and then it went on to like, then I found out like Fresh and Fit called out Abba and Preach, so then, and you know, that weird fucking situation there. So then I kind of got into that, and then I find through that more shit about Zerka and fucking Sneeko saying some crazy shit about people like Destiny. And I'm like, man, I kind of want to look into that too, because it's fucking entertaining. But I need to get more into the political shit, because that's what I intended to do anyway. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me tonight, guys. Hopefully everybody enjoyed, and as always, I will catch you in the next one.